So, I don't know if you've seen the last video I posted. It's like a minute and a half long. So, I totally capped. I said I was gonna post a video yesterday, and I low key, I don't know what happened. If you watch the video, you see I literally started talking a bunch of nonsense last night. So I fell asleep. I don't even know what I was saying. Uh, but yeah. Anyways, my camera's also gone because I have to I have to pay for this one thing to be able to like use the camera. I don't know. The so yeah, I'm just using the normal screen recorder right now, and I look at figure it out. If I just have a bunch of tabs open with different time frames, then okay, what the heck? I didn't figure it out. Okay. That doesn't matter. Anyways, what I was trying to say was I have a bunch of different tabs open with like the time frames, so that way I could go back and forth more easier. But I don't know. I got outsmart, I guess. Anyways, so this is way overdue. This trade recap, but this is from January 16th, and yeah, I remember this trade. So, anyways, so this is basically just our news for this day, and there wasn't really much like really that like impactful that I look at, and this was at 8:30, so we were kind of just chilling like Dylan, and we have a lot of stuff to go through. So this day was actually a loss. There's more things that I have to post with the trade recaps, but this day was low key a loss. And let me just get into the thought process real quick. So basically, this is the daily, and then this is also the line from the 16th, but just previously before this, like a few days before this, we had this liquidity point get reached, and if we see right here, this is where this was, but overall, our trend is still bearish. So I mean, I honestly expected something like this because this was a pretty prominent zone of liquidity, and it's on a really high time frame. And like, let me see. This is I thought it was an imbalance, but it honestly I expected something like this to happen, but I didn't have all the confluences like to say yeah, because we technically still hadn't broke structure to the upside at this point, because we see right here we have all this like bearish bearish movement still, and to break it we would technically have to close above here, and we really didn't get anything like that until later. Well, actually, let me see. I might have capped. Yeah, here. This was the 16th. No, we had to close above here. My fault. We had to close above here because that was our previous lowest high. And obviously now we see that it did close above there. But at the time, that wasn't the case. So it was kind of iffy. And we had this really small imbalance that never got filled. But I was thinking, okay, so overall, we're still technically bearish, although I wouldn't be surprised if this was bullish. So, what do you know? I got played. Yeah. So that didn't work out like that. But what we're looking at, and we can see like also like this also showed pretty good sign of rejection. But now, oh wait, will this work with this? Okay, we're on the 4 hour right here. So this we're gonna act like this is gonna stay right here. Okay, so this is the 4 hour, and also on the same day, like I said. See, on the 4 hour though, we were basically like a little bullish on this, but you know, like overall, like if we're really looking at this like more longer, we were like they're retracements, and they just happened. But like I said, I didn't have enough confluences to really say, are we bullish or not? And on this was something that kind of had me like also thinking like, yo, we might actually be bullish, um, because like I said, on the daily we had this point of liquidity get swept right here, and we just didn't have our close above this, so it was kind of like if we had this imbalances right here as well, that I remember I was like, oh, this was an imbalance that got pretty much like tapped into, and we respected it and actually double tested it, rejected off both times, and we could see that from that we got a bullish movement. So this is just something that I had like taken into consideration. But yeah, so with that, I also saw it was like, hey, we also have this, could be a retracement, could not be. The daily says technically still bearish. However, looks like we might go bullish soon. We have this bullish imbalance rejected twice. However, I was more in like the are we still really bearish or bullish? And yeah, so on the this is we'll just restore this connection. Okay, nice, we're still here. Okay, so we scaled down to the 1 hour as well right here, and on this we were basically seeing a similar thing where we had this retracement back into the upside, and honestly this just came in here, tapped into a bearish imbalance, and then we came flying back down, but we came flying back down into an imbalance that only got partially filled, and then we got a little bit back up from that, and just really through this is just a bunch of like consolidation, like holy, what is this? And then whatever this is too. But this was also pretty similar to the 4 hour time frame where we had this imbalance right here, absolutely reject off it, and then more closer to market open we had these this time frame of consolidation. Now the 15-minute, okay, where the heck did I just go? Okay, we're right here. The 15-minute, so it was like I said, it was kind of iffy, and the problem is I tried to force my bias on this. So the problem was that I knew that this was more likely to turn bullish soon than bearish, just because of how the daily was playing out and the 4 hour as well. The daily technically, and how I said, still said bearish, but we got to trade what we see, not what we feel, because this was, I guess, more of a trade that I tried to force my bearish bias on here, because I was seeing like the signs, let's say, and we see here there was a bearish imbalance that price kept coming into and respecting. So that just like just kept me more in like the let's still try to go bearish anyways. And this as well, this is a pretty big zone of what's it called, accumulation, and out of here we broke out, and looks like we came down and we swept some liquidity right here, and from there order block was right here, and then we tapped back in, went a little higher. However, that was much later, but we're focusing on what happened like prior to like here. So yeah, but this is just something that I was really looking at, and I was like, there's a bunch of accumulation before this. It's not really it's not really that developed on the lower time frame, which could also tell me, hey, we were, let's see, okay, let's not leave, okay, we were pretty much okay, which could also tell me, there was a possible change basically coming up, just because of how we had, like, for a long while really, we had a lot of just bearish movement, and we could really see this like in our, what's it called, in most of these, they're mostly shorts, long, short, long, and long, but for the most part they're mostly short. So back to the 15-minute, let's go down to the 5-minute now, and it looks like we have this imbalance also marked out from the 15-minute that we used. And also in this was also something that I saw, that I was like, hey, we might be bullish, but this is how I'm saying, we have to trade what we see, not what we feel or what we think, because like I was saying, we had these like signs really coming across the the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the 15 minute. But the only reason I was saying this is the one day, the daily was it was like, technically I hadn't broken structure yet, but the 4 hour is the 4 hour is really like where we're really getting our main bias for what we're doing. The daily bias is more, a little bit more long term, like it does matter, yeah. But I took it too serious when we were clearly showing signs of reversal. And here was another one that I completely decided to ignore. We had this small imbalance right here on the 15 minute, and we had price form this imbalance. We had price come into this imbalance, and then for a second here, it looks like we were like turning this into inverse, but then we closed right above it as well, and this was just in time for market open as well. So it's not like it was anything uh, like a surprise, because honestly, this was something else that should have really told me. Yeah, we're probably gonna go. Um, what's the word? Bullish, and we could argue as well that this was a bearish imbalance, and yeah, we see price come into this bearish imbalance, fill this imbalance. However, right after this imbalance, it comes in to fill this imbalance that I was talking about that stands higher. And then after that, came right here, disrespected the heck out of this imbalance, turned inverse, and then we just went up. So, yeah. So let's go down to the 5 minute real quick and restore this connection. Okay, where the heck did this send me? Why are we so far? All right. Now, on the 5 minute, this is what I was looking at. So on the 5 minute, we had a let me see. We had no, stop it. We also had this like huge zone of this. It's just the accumulation we were looking at before. This is also here, and like I said, we had broken out of this and then came back up after this. But what I really should have been looking for was this sweep on liquidity that I had mentioned before. We had this sweep on liquidity, which was, let's say, the trade that I should have taken right here. This was our liquidity point, and we had price come down into this, and this was really our order block. And then price, did its thing, broke a structure, came in here, came back into the order block, and then the price that we were really looking for to fill in to get like the best entry would have probably been like here, but this was still pre-market. But price that we were looking for was like back right here into this imbalance as well that we were looking at previously. We had this retest right here that wasn't really that much after the market opened, and if I remember correctly, there was also like you could see this on the woman as well. There was another imbalance just like this that formed. But I saw this and said, nah, that is not what we're doing. What I decided was, okay, we will continue bearish just because the daily said bearish, right? So I came onto here and said, okay, this is a bearish imbalance. And so this was, just like something we were looking at, and we broke out of here for a little bit, and then we basically we broke out of it just slightly, but then we came back down, so that was good for me. And I said, okay, let's look for a retracement to the upside and then get a buy opportunity. And I guess that's just it's just stuff that happens, because if we go down to the 1 minute now, let's see. Okay, we are no, we are literally light years away from wherever the heck we're supposed to be. Okay, so I have this marked out now with my position that I took that day. This was supposed to be the trade we were supposed to take. I believe it was. You know what? Hold on. I believe this was. Let me see. Came into here and we closed right about here. Yeah. Okay. So this was the trade we were supposed to take, and this is what I thought. Like I said, I was pretty much forcing my bias on here, and I could say I like half knew that, but yeah, I guess I wanted it to be true, but if we're looking at this, this is what I was trying to justify as my point of liquidity for a liquidity sweep. Which, if we really look at this, it's not really that much of a prominent high. The high I would probably say was one that I was looking at more before, was like this one or this one. However, like I said, we really wanted this to go in a short. Uh, so I used this as my point of the liquidity, sweep this, and then we broke our structure, and then came into the supposed order block that was right here. And then I had this imbalance right here. So we had the liquidity sweep, we had our break structure, we got to come right here to the supposed order block, and then we had this imbalance that also, sorry, we had this imbalance that was my entry point, because we had right here, we came in, we actually respected this price range, and this right here was what's called made me enter the trade, because I said, okay, if we close out of this imbalance, we'll enter this trade. So as soon as we closed out of this imbalance, which was like right around here, we entered right about here in this candle, where we actually came back up, had another retest on this imbalance, and then closed pretty much below this, and that was my entry right there. Stops it up here. And then I don't know. I got stopped out pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie. You can see I got stopped out pretty quickly. Just a matter of like, I don't know, less than 10 minutes. But this was something that I also should have looked at, because because how I was thinking that we also may have had a reversal soon, and this was it right here. We had this bullish imbalance that we actually came down after this imbalance, and then respected this. We also had this doji, and then we got sent back up to the upside. So that was pretty much how that story went, and you could see this would have been a pretty banger trade if we would have just traded what we saw instead of what we felt. Because if we're really looking at this now, this right here, okay, if we're really looking at this, how, let's say we should have looked at this should have been, let's clear this out real quick, 1 second. Okay, so how I like, say we would have went with the bullish bias, which is what we should have done, just really how, based on how market was moving. This was really just a fumble on my part. This right here was a pretty notable point of liquidity right here, which we actually swept right here. And if we see, let me mark this out so it's a little more noticeable. We have right here our sweep on liquidity, we have our order block, and we have our break of structure. We come back into the order block later, and then yeah, like, let me see. Yeah, we come back into the order block like 15 minutes later, and then after that, let me see. This might have even been equilibrium. See if we have right here. Well, let me start this down here. Okay. Yeah. So we even had price come back into equilibrium before we took off. So we can see we had our liquidity sweep, our break of structure, order block, what's it called, equilibrium entry, and with that we would have caught a pretty banger trade. So saying we took this, now we could have aimed for, I usually like to aim for the 5 minute highs, just because the 5 minute runs pretty smooth as well with the 1 minute trades, how I like to set up my trades. So now, oh my goodness, stop doing that. Okay, stop it. Go on this real quick. Okay, so this was this day, and this was here. I could have aimed for a point of liquidity, like, say, this one, or yeah, let's just go with this one for now. Okay, well, that would be nice to know where that price range is at. 29.18, okay, which we have at 29.18, right above here. Okay, so that right there would have been our take profit. So this would have been a 2 risk to reward. So yeah, it's like I said, that was just a pretty big fumble on my part. Entry would have been right here. Would have been a pretty smooth trade just in general. If we would have entered, say, off equilibrium, right around there, this would have been a 2 risk to reward. However, this is just how it goes. You really just learn from the stuff that you do wrong. This could have been our trade, and holy, this just rallied really fast. This wasn't a matter of like we enter down here. This few minutes of just like straight like enter now or hold your peace. Like we really just took off after that. After this is like if you entered at the start of this right here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. Wait, did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. The only thing that matters is like it was less than like 10 minutes and would have been filled. Or what's it called? You would have hit TP pretty long ago. And yeah, this is, was a pretty good trade overall. Like if you would have taken this trade. So yeah, if you took this trade, you cooked. Yeah, so just we're learning here, right? This is really, like I said, the whole point of this. So like I said, what can I take from this? Well, we can first of all not try to force our own bias into this, and I guess that was just something that kind of brought me down to my downfall with this trade. I was trying to force my bias from the daily, just because it hadn't quote unquote broke structure. However, we saw across the 4, 1, 15, 5, and 1 minute that we were actually going to the upside. So what does that tell you? The daily does have an influence. However, the 4-hour is also really that's not even the 4-hour. The 4-hour is also like daily really viable for like the bias of what we're doing, with this day, because the daily like it's good, but like you're really never in the market for that long. So yeah, trade what you see, not what you think or feel, because internally, yeah, I knew this was not as likely, and we see this one was 2 risk to reward, this one was 2 risk to reward. Just the only difference is how did I think. And yeah, so this trade, we were on a pretty good win streak, so it's not like it was the what's it called. I wasn't surprised. We had a loss coming for us. Let me see. Like it's not like we had the biggest win streak in the world. See, this was the 16th, but we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 win streak, and yeah. So it's just it is what it is. This is like trading. It's not always winning. It's not. Yeah, it's not always winning. So yeah, that's just how this trade went. So I gotta get to work and post other trade recap videos. But yeah, like I said, analyze better. We gotta trade what we see, not what we feel. And yeah, that a fumble on my part. So, anyways, I'll see y'all in the next trade recap. Probably getting posted in like less than an hour. But yeah, all right. I'll see y'all.